This is Hannibal back here from the Hannibal TV on YouTube with another review here. As I said, the regular products all bore me, so I had to rewatch lately the full shoot interview with Ultimate Warrior, which I appreciated now than the previous time I watched it because I've done a lot more shoot interviews since, and I know a lot more of the inside stories. I can tell you guys one thing: this was fairly honest. This was honest. I believe he was honest in this interview. Maybe biased towards himself, but one of the more honest shoot interviews. And he had some interesting thoughts when he was asked about Bret Hart. So let's just review those.
I like Bret, and I like when I went to Canada, I would stay with Davy Boy and them. I would go out to the Hart home. I was good friends with Owen. I traveled with Owen and Jimmy Powers up and down the road. Those are the guys I traveled up and down the road with. I'd bring them in my car. I had a limo. Come on, let's go. Bret Hart, I remember celebrating in some Midland, Texas or something, his birthday. We all stayed out late one night, and we all ended up shacking up at this rotten hotel. We couldn't find any more rooms and stuff. I liked his family. I liked his kids. I liked Stu. And they always, I was always respectful of who they were and where they came from. But then later they got, they just started criticizing me for no reason, and I made some comments about Bret. I think Bret probably would have felt better about what he did if he had pursued litigation like I did. I saw it all the way through, and I think he stayed bitter about that, that he went to WCW, and even though he made the money, he didn't get to finish his career the way he wanted to. Well, I thought people like Bret that had been in business for so many years knew how to handle all kinds of different business waters, whatever they were. They could make the best of it.
How do you think you would have handled that situation in Montreal if Vince had changed the finish the last night?
I don't know. That's a what if.
Okay.
I think in some ways it was all, the camera was in the right place at the right time too often.
Yeah, and he's not the only one that has said that for the wrestling with shadows. The camera was at the right place at the right time too often. He went from making less in WWE to way more in WCW. Then he got a Lloyd's of London settlement in WCW. And keep in mind, I'm not saying he worked it, but he did have his hands up, and a lot of wrestlers worked their Lloyd's of London settlement. And then he returned to WWE, held the US Championship, hugged Vince, had a main event WrestleMania match with Vince, and to my knowledge, I think he's still under a Legends contract. So, by the way, even after all he said about Shawn Michaels a few weeks ago, Bret Hart is still under Legends contract. So, you don't hear about any lawsuits because if someone made up that I had slept with Vince or Pat, and it wasn't true, I would sue them. So that tells you something about those accusations. But he did nail it with Bret there. That Bret, again, he's known to criticize a lot of people later on. He was nice to them at the time. Then suddenly they're out of the picture. Suddenly they were awful. And someone asked me, because I now have a new top 5 favorite wrestlers. Since Ric Flair, I've lost all respect for him. So I have a new top 5. And Warrior is in that top 5. And someone asked me, why the Ultimate Warrior? Because he's amazing at promos. He's realistic. He didn't do much fake looking stuff in wrestling. He was high intensity. He had a great physique, and he's believable. He's still, even when you're watching his shoot interview, you could still see he's the Ultimate Warrior. There's not enough characters anymore. Whether you can fake chain wrestle, I got news for you guys. Chain wrestling, try some of those chain wrestling moves in a real fight. They're not gonna work. But as I said, I enjoyed that, and I agree with him on Bret. I believe it's a very tight knit work between Vince, Bret, possibly Shawn. You do it tight enough work, people will believe it. You can work the boys, and so many people have come out and said it could be a work, including Hall and Nash. So Markley, I'm not much of a football fan. I will be in the gym training later today, though. I hope you enjoy the game. And let me know what you guys think. Do you guys? I truly believe it was a work. I truly believe it was a work where a lot of people were worked, including office staff and other members of the roster. I've done it before. People can blah 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 all they want. People believed for years that the Lanny Poffo in my fight was a work. Why was it a work? You know how we made it look so real? And go back and look at it if you hadn't seen it. Because there's many versions of it, but well over 1 million hits for all the versions. Well over 1 million hits. We didn't tell the dressing room we were going to do it. So all the reactions from all the people in the dressing room was real. So if we had just done that and told everyone in the dressing room it was a work, it wouldn't have come off as believable as it was. And I think they did that for the Survivor Series. That's just my personal opinion. Have a great